Hello everyone, and welcome to this video series that is all about fashion design, pattern making and dressmaking. So if you're new to this channel and would like to learn how to make your own personal patterns, take a look at my previous videos and download the size chart for free to get started. Hi, I'm John, a Danish designer with over 25 years of experience, based in Quebec, Canada. I am here to share my knowledge and help you create your own clothes that will fit no matter your size. So hit the like button, subscribe, and follow along. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 3 different dresses that are based on the same design idea. I will explain about the cut, design, the fabric, and different sewing techniques that I used, and show you how the dresses are made inside out. So let's go. So this is the first option I want to show you. A corset top with 2 asymmetrical flounces. And I will demonstrate shortly how I constructed this. Alongside with the rest of the dresses that you see here. Plus an additional red dress that I am not able to show today. So hang on. So this is a work in progress. The yellow corset top with 2 asymmetrical flounces. As you see here in the front, I used a different cut for the top. A dart coming from the side and up to the bust. And then I'm planning to use some hooks and eyes to close it. The flounces I finished the same way as the green cocktail dress I showed you in a previous video. I added extra seam allowance around the edges, and I made a bias cut so I could have a nice finishing here on the inside, where I hemmed it on the silk organza with invisible stitches all around. As well as the upper edge that I have 3 to 4 centimeters facing that I'm going to finish the same way as the hemming here. And what I'm missing to do is to create a inner corset with some boning and a little bit of extra lining here on the bottom part. So it's a work in progress. and it's about a size 6 to 8, I think. So let me show you how this yellow corset top with flanges works. How did I draft this pattern? I used the corset pattern and the dress pattern from my previous videos that you can check out. And the flanges I made based on full circle or half a circle, depending on what you want to obtain. A full circle is based on your waist circumference or hip circumference or wherever you want to add the flanges. So you measure your waist circumference, for instance, and the way you calculate it is you take your waist circumference and you divide it by 2 times pi. Pi is 3.14, and depending on the design, I used a square design this time. So in the yellow top that I just showed you, I used 2 times a full circle, which means I measured the waist circumference and created 2 squares like this. I added the calculated radius, and I wanted the asymmetric look, so I placed the full circle here. And when you cut it out on the fabric fold here, you will have a full circle. But to have a seam in the back, you need to add some seam allowance to the waist measure that I showed you here to be able to sew the seam center back. And on top of the first one, I created a smaller one with the same measures, like this. And of course, you can vary the length, the different length in the front here, for example. Or the opposite, depending on how you want the look. You can extend or shorten all these sides, try out different things to see how it's going to look like. So the front is on the fold line, and the back you cut up to be able to fit it on the top and sew it back, because the seam allowance is included in this measure. This pink fluffy summer dress is made the same way as the yellow that I just showed you. I just use a different top, the corset pattern with the panels, and it continues down to the hip. So when I created these flounces, these asymmetrical flounces, I used the measure of the hip when I calculated the radius for the full circle. And I placed them opposite of each other, asymmetrical to one side, so it gets an interesting and more dynamic look. Again, the facing is sewn with a bias cut on the corners. It's very light, so it kind of blows in the wind when you move. The top I lined with some pink silk fabric. I didn't use boning in this one because it has a kind of halter neck ribbon that goes around your neck to hold it in place. So boning is not needed for this one. In the pink fluffy gown that I showed you, I used the same method, but since it's attached at the hip, you don't need to cut up anywhere on the pattern. So you just use the clean hip measure when you calculate this circle. And because of that, you get two squares like this. Asymmetric, not the same on all sides, not the same measure on all sides. You just had to add to the circle some seam allowance before you sew it on. And what I did before when I sewed it on, I turned these opposite of each other to get a more interesting asymmetrical look. That's one way of varying the design. Of course, you can keep it symmetrical if you like that. You can also extend some of the sides to get a more asymmetrical look. It's only your imagination that holds you back. So try different options. The black version of the same cut with the asymmetric skirt here in the black tulle. Until now, 3 layers of a very light tulle and 2 layers of a stronger tulle under to keep the shape. And for the top, I use the same cut as in the yellow corset top that I just showed you. I added an extension and this fabric is kind of interesting because it reflects the light. It's still a work in progress, so it's not done yet. So I added a zipper in the back, which extends below the tulle that I will keep open here. It's an invisible zipper sewn into the outer fabric. And I started to add the lining. That have a little bit of boning until now, like you can see here. And I think it might actually be enough because the dress is very light. So as you can see, the boning extends below the waist to hold it up in the front and in the back. The lining just needs to be attached to the top and it will be done. And in the black dress that is shown here, and the red one that is shown after, I use the same method. I created a long square because I wanted these dresses to have a train and be asymmetrical, like short in the front and much longer in the back. So I used the same. After I found out how long I wanted in the front, I calculated the circle. Again, I used the measurement where I wanted the circle to start. I created a circle with the measure of the hip or wherever I wanted to attach these flounces. So again, measure and divide by 2 times pi, and you get the radius of the circle that you need. This equals this part, so you take a thread and hold your finger in the middle and draw a circle with a pencil on the pattern, like that. Again, remember to add seam allowance. And this, I think I was even longer like that, so you place it on the fold on the fabric here, and you have a asymmetrical skirt or flounce that will look very different and interesting. And of course, again, you can vary the different lengths depending on what kind of design you want, like extending, make it wider on the side, or shorten it. Try out different possibilities. That's it for today. I hope you liked the little demonstration. And if you are keen to make your own clothes, you should check out my previous videos and the description below to know more. I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.